The movie Hero, 2002, starring Jet Li, is a Chinese historical martial arts film. The story is set during the Warring States period and revolves around an assassin named Nameless. The central plot follows Nameless as he attempts to assassinate the King of Qin by getting close to him in order to prevent the unification of China under the Qin state. The film presents the stories of 4 different assassins, each with unique motivations, backgrounds, and methods of action. The theme of the film explores loyalty, patriotism, sacrifice, and the conflict of personal fate, especially the internal struggle when faced with choices between national destiny and personal emotions. Ultimately, through a conversation with the King of Qin, Nameless comes to understand the profound difference between serving the country and the people and personal revenge, ultimately making his own choice. During the Warring States period in China, the conflicts between the 7 states were bloody and brutal. The state of Qin gradually emerged, becoming a thorn in the side of the other 6 states. The story takes place at the end of the Warring States period, when the King of Qin was steadily rising to dominate the region, with the other 6 states already regarding him as the most formidable enemy. To prevent assassins from attempting to kill him, the King of Qin implemented extremely tight security measures and even took strict control over his daily life, avoiding all possible risks. However, it was against this very backdrop that an unnamed assassin from Langmeng County made his appearance. Wu Ming appeared to be an ordinary local official at first glance, but behind him lay deep hatred and a complex mission. His family had been massacred under the iron-fisted policies of the Qin state, and he had personally eliminated 3 assassins who had long troubled the Qin king, Chang Kong, Fei Shui, and Ken Jian. The Qin king was highly intrigued by Wu Ming's achievements, believing him to be a capable individual. However, with Wu Ming's arrival, the Qin king did not fully trust him. Instead, through clever conversation and subtle probing, he gradually uncovered the complicated relationship between Wu Ming and the assassins. This was not only about Wu Ming's past, but also about the suffering and bloodshed under the rule of the Qin state. The arrival of Nameless was no accident. The film uses flashbacks to intricately depict how Nameless gradually defeated the 3 assassins, Chang Kong, Fei Shui, and Ken Jian. These 3 were major threats to the Qin kingdom, but Nameless cleverly exploited the conflicts between them and his own extraordinary swordsmanship to defeat them one by one. First, there is Chang Kong, a skilled assassin known for his silver spear, who was one of the Qin king's most troublesome enemies. The duel between Nameless and Chang Kong is the film's opening scene. Chang Kong, confident in his abilities, believes that with his silver spear's cold edge, he can easily emerge victorious. However, in his fight with Nameless, he is not only defeated by Nameless' superb sword skills, but is also cunningly lured into a trap. Chang Kong's death, though part of Nameless' plan for revenge, carries a sense of inevitability in its tragic aftermath, showing that even the strongest cannot escape fate. Next, Fei Shui and Ken Jian, once comrades and lovers, become fractured after Chang Kong's death. Nameless skillfully sows discord between them, exploiting their trust in each other. Eventually, this causes them to grow suspicious, and they ultimately meet their own demise, torn apart by their own doubts. As the plot progresses, King Qin gradually realizes that the arrival of Nameless is not merely an expression of gratitude. Although Nameless goes into detail about how he defeated the assassins, the king is not fooled by these outward signs of loyalty. As a wise ruler, King Qin understands that behind every assassin may lie a deeper conspiracy. While Nameless recounts the story, King Qin starts to carefully analyze every detail. Nameless repeatedly mentions Chang Kong, Fei Shui, and Ken Jian. The king believes that these assassins were not randomly brought together. Nameless' connection with them seems premeditated, not just a simple act of killing. From Nameless' gaze, the king detects a trace of murderous intent, something characteristic of an assassin. Nameless is subtly laying his plans, and perhaps the ultimate goal of these plans is to assassinate King Qin. This deep psychological analysis of Nameless heightens King Qin's vigilance and deepens his suspicions. Through this strategic confrontation, the film elevates the power struggle between the two to a new height. It turns out that, several years ago, King Qin had once fought against Sangjin and Feishue. From their swordsmanship, King Qin realized that they were not narrow-minded individuals. Therefore, their falling out and enmity were a facade, and the deaths of Feishue and Sangjin were also faked. The stories told by Wu Ming were all false. Subsequently, King Qin speculated that Wu Ming was also an assassin from the Zhao kingdom, and the reason Chang Kong died under Wu Ming's sword was deliberate. The three of them were all secretly helping Wu Ming to find an opportunity to enter the palace and assassinate King Qin. As the film progresses, the inner world of Nameless is gradually revealed. Nameless is not merely an assassin, his purpose goes beyond seeking revenge. He carries a much heavier burden, one of bringing peace to the people of the world. He has fought countless battles, witnessed the deaths of many loved ones, and the hatred within him has long taken root. However, with the rise of the Qin king, Nameless begins to realize that if he succeeds in assassinating the king, it may plunge the entire world back into war, causing even greater suffering for the common people. In his conversation with the Qin king, Nameless begins to waver internally. Can he truly bear the suffering of the nation and its people in pursuit of his revenge? The film cleverly portrays his inner struggle and the Qin king's calm reasoning, highlighting the difficult dilemma Nameless faces. Should he seek vengeance for his family, or let go of his hatred for the greater good of the world, choosing a higher goal? The climax of the film is undoubtedly the moment when Nameless faces the king of Qin. When the king turns his back and signals Nameless to strike, the audience's hearts are on edge. The sword in Nameless' hand seems to symbolize a crossroads of fate, with a single strike potentially altering the entire course of the kingdom. However, contrary to everyone's expectations, Nameless does not assassinate the king. Instead, he gently taps the king's back with the hilt of his sword. In that instant, all the tension in the air intensifies, and the audience's emotions are thrown into turmoil. Nameless chooses not to take revenge, but to let go of his hatred. He does not kill the king, but instead sacrifices his own personal vendetta for a greater cause. This choice brings the film to its emotional climax. Though the sword strike of Nameless may seem non-lethal, it represents his ultimate decision for the greater good of the people. He lets go of his desire for revenge and chooses to allow the king of Qin to continue with his plan of unification. Nameless' act symbolizes his transformation from a vengeful figure to a nobler one, a hero who sets aside personal grudges for the future of the nation and its people. At the end of the film, Nameless' death is inevitable. Surrounded by the king's guards, he faces death, and in his final moments, he realizes that his choice was not in vain. Though he dies tragically, his sacrifice for the people is forever etched in history. The fates of Flying Snow and Broken Sword are also filled with tragic overtones. After Nameless fails to complete his revenge, the bond between Flying Snow and Broken Sword is irrevocably broken. Her anger and regret drive her to choose suicide, deepening the emotional entanglement. This not only amplifies the film's tragic tone, but also makes Nameless' sacrifice feel even heavier and irreversible. The heart of the film is not merely about the assassin's quest for revenge, but about the struggle between personal emotions and the greater cause of the nation. In Nameless' eyes, the balance between the future of the country and personal vengeance forms the film's profound theme. His ultimate choice represents the transcendence of a hero. He sacrifices personal vendettas for the peace and prosperity of the people. Ultimately, he becomes a legend in the river of history, a hero who transcends personal emotions and gives up everything for the greater good. The film concludes with Nameless' death, leaving a profound question: can we, like Nameless, rise above personal interests and make sacrifices for a greater cause?